Hi, I'm Kevin, and this is Raised on Film. One metric of whether or not a film is good is its rewatchability. And sometimes a film doesn't need to be great or even good, and can in fact be bad and still rewatchable.
Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Some films seem endlessly rewatchable, maybe because they are packed full of details for one to discover over time, or because they have jokes which never seem to get old. Or spectacle which never disappoints. Or maybe it's due to a twist which allows us to watch the film again through a new lens and appreciate it in a completely different way. Or the film is just an enigma which takes several viewings to figure out. And sometimes it's because the film is just that good, and it never gets old and always satisfies, delights, or moves us. But then, there is another type of film. What I call the single-serving film. It's one which only merits a single watch, and not because it is bad or difficult, but simply because it lacks any rewatchability. So what makes a film unrewatchable? To clarify, some films lack rewatchability because they are so intense, or ugly, or arduous, or brutal, that they discourage a rewatch. This is not what I'm talking about. A single-serving film is a clean one and done. It's a film which you only need to see once in order to get everything the film has to offer. This doesn't mean that the films are bad necessarily. I'm not referring to films which you might wish you could unsee. But films that simply, even if they do satisfy, don't leave you wanting more. So what makes a film a single-serving film? We've established some traits of rewatchability include spectacle, detail, humor, mystery, joy, and overall quality. So does a single-serving film lack those things? For the sake of simplicity, let's zero in on one film that I never wished to see again, but of course I rewatched for the sake of this video. Let's look at Clint Eastwood's Mystic River. Mystic River is about a trio of friends in Boston who have grown apart from one another after one of them is kidnapped and abused as a child. One grows up to be a gangster, another a cop, and the other a deeply traumatized lost soul. The film was nominated for a bunch of Oscars and landed 2 for Sean Penn and Tim Robbins for actor and supporting actor respectively. It's a well-made film with great performances and an engrossing, albeit played-out, story, but I don't care to ever see it again. Why? It's not because of how depressing it is. I often love films which are cynical or depressing. I love a good tragedy.
I will have someone play me to delve into the murky, cowardly depths of my lonely, fucked up being.
It's because rewatching it lacks any incentive. Will rewatching it entertain me? Probably not. The story is not compelling enough or told in a creative enough way for me to care a second time around. Does the film have a twist which will allow me to see it with fresh eyes? Not really. Mystic River is centered around a murder mystery, but when we find out who the killer is, it's almost inconsequential. It does offer a new perspective on a couple of supporting characters and their motivations, but it isn't illuminating enough to counter the slogginess of the rest of the film. Will I laugh at the hard-hitting jokes that I loved the first time around? Hard no. Does the film offer any cinematic spectacle which is a wonder to behold? As you may be able to tell from these clips, the film is pretty dreary and static, a lot of what Alfred Hitchcock referred to as pictures of people talking. The only real spectacle is a few particularly raw emotional performances which are great and impressive, but almost feel gratuitous in how explicit they are, and ultimately don't need to be viewed a second time to be fully understood or felt. What about joy? Is there an underpinning of joy beneath the film's surface, a la Ghostbusters, or 10 Things I Hate About You, or Parasite? No. The film feels dutiful, like we're watching a bunch of people at work rather than at play. What about detail and meaning? Is Mystic River full of meaning, symbolism, and subtle relationships which have to be re-examined to be fully appreciated? No. Like most films by Clint Eastwood, for better or for worse, Mystic River is pretty overt and straight down the line. Not a lot of subtlety to be found.
Why? At night in the gills, she reminded me of a dream I had. A dream of youth.
Ugh. The story rarely, if ever, diverts from its singular path narratively or tonally. The direction is as straightforward as Sean Penn's coffee cup. The world of the film is meant to be hyper-realistic, and therefore few creative liberties are taken in order to elevate the film beyond the pedestrian. The cinematography is neither rich nor interesting, rather it is serviceable and unobtrusive. And the few instances where creative liberty is taken miss the mark. Is Mystic River unrewatchable because of its difficult content? Maybe. Thematically, the film is about how a community can be destroyed through untreated trauma and grief. It tackles many of the same themes as highly rewatchable films like M, Memories of Murder, and Jennifer Kent's The Babadook. And while The Babadook is not the easiest film to watch, it remains rewatchable because of the unique character and audio design, compelling camera work, amazing performances, and creative and subtle approaches to its themes.
You're trespassing in my house!
Is Mystic River unrewatchable because it's just too much, like Requiem for a Dream? I don't think so. A film like Requiem is too much not just because of content and emotionally charged performances, which Mystic River has, but also because of unrelenting sound design, editing, and cinematography. It has a nauseating kinetic energy which makes Mystic River seem downright pleasant. Mystic River is a very watchable film. It's sleek and streamlined. It's got a stacked cast. I mean, Kevin Bacon, Lawrence Fishburne, Laura Linney, Smalls, and Marcia Gay Harden, who crushes it.
Right.
But it's unrewatchable due to its lack of nuance, overt themes, heavy content, confused morals, complete lack of levity, and stylistic cinematic choices which are tepid at best. Mystic River and other single-serving films tend towards a middle-of-the-road approach to filmmaking. Creative choices are neither bold nor bad, rather tried and true, safe. They seek to appeal to as broad of an audience as possible in order to serve ticket sales or award season, rather than seek to create something with longevity. This is not to say that these films are necessarily bad. Many of them are very much worth their single serving and the price of admission. And if nothing else, they illuminate what makes those films, good or bad, which never seem to get old, so very special. Thank you so much for watching Raised on Film. Do you think that Mystic River is actually rewatchable? Or do you think it's unwatchable? Or do you think it's a single-serving film? What are some of your most notable single-serving films? Leave them below in the comments. And if you like what we do, like, subscribe, hit the bell, tell your friends, leave a comment, and stay tuned because we've got more coming.